Drew's Gift of Music is an organization that stays true to its namesake by providing musical instruments to students in need.
We are a foundation that puts instruments in the hands of students whose families cannot afford them. So when a kid goes in for there to see which instruments they want to play, you have options of Quinlan and Fabish, or someone else has had an instrument that has given it to you. But there's a lot of families who cannot afford it. That's where we fall in.
They do all of this because of Drew, a gifted musician with a passion for giving.
My son, Drew Sharon, was highly involved in music from the time he was 12 years old, is when he started writing music and playing his first instrument. He went on to playing so many it's ridiculous. Couldn't even count them all. If you put it in his hand, he'd play it. He was a drum major over in Knox, and he started at the age of 12 with Guitar Hero. And that, he didn't wasn't long before he wanted an electric guitar. Found one for him for Christmas, and he wrote his first song then. It's called the Storm Song, and it is by far my favorite song. And then he decided that wasn't, he needed something else. So then he wanted a keyboard. So we got him a keyboard, and sent him to lessons. And the instructor said to me in the second lesson, "You're wasting your money. He's teaching me more than I'm teaching him." Anything he picked up, he had a gift from God. And I'd always told him, if you don't use that gift, he will pass it on to someone else. Well, Drew used that gift, there is no doubt. But I think his gift was so much what was inside than his music itself. On his way home from work one night, he was killed in a single car accident. That was in October of 2010, and it was depressing. It was the worst spot I was ever in my life. He was my youngest. My life was over as I knew it, so I had to find a way to live. And I started the foundation in memory of him. That's why it's Drew's Gift of Music.
Though Drew may not be here in physical form, his spirit lives on through Drew's gift.
The first instrument that we gave was actually in 2013. And it has just grown from one school to two to now almost 40 school systems. So it's almost having a life of its own. It's exciting. It's overwhelming at times because we just don't know where it's going to go from here. We are up over 300 instruments that we have licensed or put into children's hands. We call it licensed. So it's a license that the parent and the student sign as long as they're using the instrument within the program, usually within a school program, as long as they're using it and they're still enrolled. And within that school, it's theirs to use until they're no longer using it. And then it comes back to us. We refurbish it again and put it back out to the next. So we do have some instruments that have been 3 or 4 kids. So we have many ready. We have many instruments, and I'll do whatever I can to make sure, even if we don't have one available, whenever we find one, it'll be ready for them.
Unlike most of my compositions, this piece does not have some well thought out and profound meaning behind it. It's simply a product of my subconscious. It all began a year and a half ago with a bit of boredom and a blank document on Finale music software. After a few hours of entering random notes, I morphed a nonsense phrase into something musical. By the end of the week, I had a polished piece of junk. Months later, I took this simple idea and expanded it into something greater. I guess the moral of the story is never throw anything away that you write. Whether it be music, poems, drawings, novels, whatever. Don't toss it out, or else your polished piece of junk may never be turned into something great.